And good morning, everybody. It's a Friday and time now to check in with Dr. Alex Apostle from the Shelton School District. Morning, Alex.
Good morning, Jeff. Pleasure to be here as always.
Watched some of the board meeting earlier in the week and lots of conversations about the budget. It's about $65 million submitted to OSPI. And so let's walk through this because there was a lot of information that has impact in the community on the budget.
Sure.
So entities have to have a budget. It has to be presented and submitted to OSPI in the case of school districts, and then they look it over. When does that first send over happen? Like when you start seeing what you could be working with budget-wise for the upcoming school year?
Yeah, that happened about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, where Brenda sent in our 10% reduction, and they review it, of course, and then send it back. And then we review it with the board, and we make adjustments as necessary to make sure that we're in a very solvent position as a school district. And it's not an easy process, and especially when you're talking about people and their life and their jobs. I mean, it's very, very difficult. But we have to remain solvent, as everybody knows. And so you have to do things sometimes that you don't want to do.
Right.
So it's probably one of the most difficult things that a superintendent has to contend with, for sure.
And this isn't just a Shelton issue. You mentioned that the state could be facing a $10 billion deficit this upcoming year. The next year it could be $12 billion. I mean, that's just a lot of money out there, and it's not Shelton School District. It's not Mason County. It's not Washington. It's
Right.
the whole country that is going through this. You did say, for those who didn't catch the meeting, you talked about three things when looking at the budget. Could you talk about those again?
Well, one of the things that we talked about is the fact that enrollment is the driver. And quite frankly, as I mentioned last night, we're worried about it. Just like every district across America is worried about it. But we need to make sure that our families and students come back to the Shelton School District because we are going to offer the very best program. Our teachers are going to be teaching the K-12 platform online program. And we know our students, and we can support them under any and all circumstances. But that's a huge issue, and we still don't know for sure, who will knock on the door on the first day of school on September 2nd. But we'll be monitoring that very closely. But we also have to prepare. We're hoping for the best, and we're preparing for what might happen, and we're hoping that we're going to be in great shape. And I believe parents and families believe in our school district, and they'll come back to school. The second item was that this is not a budget that specifically just deals with the 2021 school year. As superintendent, I have to make sure that I'm looking down the road 2, 3, 4 years from now to make sure that we're prepared for anything that might happen in terms of revenue. And when you hear the state talking about a $10 billion deficit, and then I just heard yesterday a $12 billion potential deficit, that comes into the picture also. So those are things that needed to be considered. And then the third item I mentioned was when we go to a different model beyond just 100% online. And of course, we're going to be working with families and students to support them in terms of special circumstances. But if we were to move forward with a hybrid model and an online model, that becomes extremely expensive. Mm-hmm. And we've got to prepare for that also. So those three factors, and there's others, believe me, but those are three major issues that we have batted around for months now. And we still, of course, don't know what the enrollment is going to be for sure. There's no guarantee what the enrollment is going to be. But in the way the budgets are calculated in the state of Washington, and for that matter, probably across the country, enrollment, the number of students you have, drives the revenue. And some people feel that that's archaic, that there's other ways to calculate a school district budget, and I'm sure there are other ways, and I've come up with some ways, but it doesn't matter at this point in time. The way the budgets are calculated and determined for public schools, it's based on enrollment.
One of the other things I heard in there was talking about sometimes, too, the state can withhold funds for various reasons, and we've heard of these reasons over the years. Maybe paperwork not received in a timely manner, or something else may happen. So when you're working on these budgets, is there monies in there? Is this all monies coming from the people in Mason County who support through property taxes in the Shelton School District, the schools, or does that have some state funds that are coming in that you think you're going to get, but then you're not sure? Or is this basically, listen, we're going to do this budget as if the state is unable to help us?
Well, there's money, of course, coming from property taxes, levies, local levies, state support, which is very important. And then you have your grants and federal funding. So you have various pots of money that flow into the school district budget. But, you have to take all that into account as you move forward. Some of it is guaranteed through the Constitution of the state of Washington. Excuse me, but the one thing that we all need to consider is if the state's in debt $10 to $12 billion, that's something we need to keep an eye on as a public school system. And I know that the state does a very fine job under very difficult circumstances to support the schools. But if you have deficits of that kind, you just don't know what can happen. Our main concern right now, quite frankly, is that our families and students enroll in the Shelton School District so that we can move forward. We've projected 4,125 students. That's what we built the budget on. And if we hit that mark, that will be wonderful. But anything under that would be a real issue for us, just as it would be for any school district, or whether it's Olympia, Tumwater, Seattle, Tacoma. If the students aren't there, that's a real challenge to any public school system.
So then again, I think I've asked you this before, but then let's do it again. Let's tell me and tell the listeners, encouraging the parents out there, the reasons why, especially this year, it's important to keep a student enrolled within the Shelton School District rather than pull them from the district and then a parent or homeschool group, maybe, I don't really know, is the main person to give forth the education for the year?
Well, that's a very good question, and I know we've talked about it before, but the issue of continuity, teachers knowing the children, I think, is extremely important in this difficult situation. Moving students to another school district, you're going to run into the same things that we're dealing with here in Shelton. Homeschooling, K-12 platform, it's the same platform, but it's not Shelton teachers teaching it. There is a relationship issue that's very important in the area of student achievement. And when a teacher knows the student and they know what they need in terms of support, that's extremely valuable. And then when things even change more so, and our students come back to school, it will be an easier transition than if they were doing something differently other than enrolling in the Shelton School District. And, I've sent out messages to staff and to the community about the fact that the Shelton School District is continuing to move forward. In fact, there's going to be a mailing to all the community either today or tomorrow, and it's going to spell out what the Shelton School District is doing. Even during these difficult times, we are moving forward with the academic program, with our academies. We're going to be initiating a manufacturing academy on the Shelton campus. We're looking at a variety of new programs, a trades academy, and so on. Great things are coming for our students here in the Shelton School District, and I'm hoping that they're a part of that. We're trying very hard, I will tell you that. We're working 7 days a week, many hours every single day to start school on a positive note. I just want to let the community know that this is not easy. There's no blueprint. There's no blueprint at the federal level, nor at the state level, or at the local level. I mean, we're doing the best we can under these very difficult and challenging times.
Well, I definitely heard it in the board members' voices talking about, the positions that will be potentially laid off here if the budget is adopted here. They're not on paper. It's a number, and it says 1 FTE or 2 FTE. And I think Carrie brought it up, and Lynn brought it up too, that, they understand that there are people and families behind these positions. But at this point, the district, and it's not just the district, cities, counties, states, right. Everybody is having some real hard looks and tough discussions on how to keep things fiscally solvent. And it's just a tough situation everybody's in.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And in terms of the process issue that we had last night, I take full responsibility for that. And we're going to be moving quickly to resolve that and move forward. But I just want to say there's going to be additional challenges, and there will be mistakes made as we move down this road. We've not been here before.
Right.
We're trying to do everything we can to avoid problems and mistakes, but it's going to be difficult. And I would appreciate everyone's consideration and thought in terms of what I've just said.
There is a school board meeting that's online coming up on August 25th that people are able to log in and watch that one. And then the first day of school is coming up on September 2nd. It's less than 2 weeks away. Dr. Alex Apostle, good to talk with you. I know you and the board are facing some tough decisions here, and we appreciate your candor and conversations here on the morning show.
Thank you very much, Jeff. You have a good day.